All right, here we are back again at the Geek Blues Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, nerds and fools, thank you again for listening in on us. First and foremost, please don't forget to visit us at our website, www.geekbluespodcast.com, and subscribe to us on Castbox and iTunes. Soon to be on SoundCloud as well. Today, special episode on The Incredibles 2 movie. Long awaited, 14 years in between. Good thing we finally got it out. I got my new guest on here today, Topic Thunder. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm glad to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I definitely wanted a second opinion on the Incredibles 2 movie. Very hot topic out nowadays.
Yeah, I would agree. It's been a long time and people have been waiting. So I was pretty eager to see it.
Nice. So before we get into the Incredibles 2, I got some news updates for everybody. All right, first and foremost, the season 3 of Tokyo Ghoul RE finally ended. And that will be actually one of the main subjects on one of our upcoming episodes. As far as my opinion on it, I'm a little disappointed in the this last season. It didn't really come about the way I wanted it to. And actually, it kind of felt like a filler episode, just a long series of them. But I'll get into that, in the upcoming show. Next up, we got Bleach. The new live-action Bleach movie is coming out soon. They already got posters up and everything. Looks pretty good so far, but as we all know with the live-action movies for the animes, they can go downhill real fast. Also, we have finally long-awaited, it finally came up, the Yu Yu Hakusho special coming out in December. Big fan here. Cannot wait for it to come out, especially since I heard that the upcoming OVA is going to be about Kurama and Hiei's backstory. So that's one more thing to look forward to for all Yu Yu Hakusho fans. Now, without further ado, Topic Thunder. Incredibles 2.
Yes.
What do you think of it? Overall, and then we'll get into the details.
Okay. Overall, I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. At first, when it started, I'll admit I was a little underwhelmed.
Really?
I was. And I was like, okay, I've been waiting 14 years for this.
Now, was that because it started off right where it ended at the last, where it started,
That's what yes. But then as the movie went on, I realized that was the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like as filmmakers, they had a choice to make. One being, should they start where they left off, or should they make it 14 years later and have them have aged 14 years?
Right.
And so I was kind of expecting that, and so maybe that's where it came from a little bit. But then as the movie went on, I loved it, and I was so happy that they started back from where they left.
Right. I was also anticipating before the trailers came out and everything, I was anticipating a time gap as well, like seeing the kids older and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm also glad the way they did it was really good. They one of the main focuses on the film was the legalization of superheroes.
Yeah.
And I'm actually glad they went into that because that was a big issue in the last movie, of course, because we know in Incredibles 1, supers were, they were taken off the grid.
Yeah.
Due to property damage and everything. And I'm glad they actually, I'm glad they went into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, I feel like every main character served its purpose because for the children, first of all, there were more adults in the theater.
14 years, that's what we do.
Then there were children. And I felt like, a lot of this dialogue, kind of went over the children's, their heads. But I feel like that was the purpose of the baby.
Right.
And and her, the baby's Jack's brother.
Right.
I feel like they were the comic relief for the children.
Right.
And the other superheroes were for the adults.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one reason why I feel like they needed to start where they left off from.
Right.
And plus, we never got to really see what Jack's powers were.
Yeah, we just saw him
You know?
morph into different
yeah,
things. And,
like in the first one.
Yeah, at the
you
end,
know what I
very
mean?
end.
So, I'm glad. I'm happy that they made that decision. So.
yeah, and there was a lot. Another thing I liked, a lot of attention on Elastigirl. Like I noticed that in this movie, compared to the first one, in the first movie we had Mr. Incredible going out behind the wife's back, and doing all these missions and everything and getting training, but this time she normally went out. They both talked about it, and she went out and she was doing everything, and he was at home, as a dad. It kind of reversed right there.
Yeah, it was reversed, and kind of the theme of this movie was about women, being up front and kind of being taking the lead. I liked how the storyline was layered. You know what I mean? Because it dealt with that for
Right.
one. Elastigirl, being in the front and having to kind of leave the family, and worry about them, but still knowing this is what she really wanted.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, she really wanted this. And then having, the whole issue with the stay-at-home dad and, him feeling less than and inferior,
Right.
Because his job has always been the strong one, the one who takes care of things. And he didn't have to worry about, new math
Right.
and, the woes of a teenage daughter. And so I felt like that was a nice layer that they added. Into the storyline, which I thought it brought some substance to it.
Yeah, as far as the storyline goes too, the main villain for this movie, I did see it coming somewhere along the line. With after when the whole screenslaver guy came up and everything, and I was like, what if that those two siblings might have something to do with this thing. I don't know what yet. And then as it came about, when she came in contact with the dude who was the pizza boy, who was under the hypnosis and everything, and I was like, all right.
I saw that coming early on, but I thought it was the brother and not the sister.
I did too. Yeah.
So when it was revealed that it was the sister, I was like, okay, like. So I like that I got that little surprise,
Right.
because I surely thought it was going to be,
Yeah, the brother.
I didn't think that they were going to be in cahoots, but I just felt like it was going to be the brother and not the sister. But so that was, I like that, that I was surprised, you know what I mean, that it was the sister and not the brother. So that was good.
The speaking, going back a little, couple seconds back or a minute back about the Elastigirl being the forefront of the movie. That one scene when sister and brother were going over the damage chart between her and Mr. Incredible, and how Elastigirl, her property damage was much lower. You think they were kind of saying like, oh, a woman's touch is sometimes better than the man. Like I'm gonna. A man's approach to things, like sometimes you gotta be more flexible and more what am I trying to say, more what I'm trying to say, right?
Well,
Do you?
yeah, I agree that they kind of made it seem like back to that caveman
Right.
theory, just destroy, and women do think before they act, a little bit more than a man. But I feel like as a woman, she's had to make many decisions at once. You know what I mean? As a multitasker, as a mom.
A mother, yeah.
So she was kind of used to that,
Coming at things from different angles.
From different angles,
right.
and
that makes sense.
So But I thought that was funny.
He was like, well, your damaged property is through the roof, and hers is, she's a shining star when it comes to keeping things.
I have to admit, though, Jack, he disturbed me a little bit.
With the whole, all too many powers, you think, or
not too many powers. Just there was just something about when he just multiplied and he became 5 Jacks, and it was just.
What about when he grew the hair and the nose like Edna?
Oh my goodness! I have to say, two of the best highlights, was him and Edna.
When he was walking with the lollipop.
Yes. I mean, I love that they brought Edna back.
Oh yeah, I was looking forward to her.
She's just everything. I feel like that scene with her and Mr. Incredible and the baby, and I feel like Edna and Jack, they for me, they played a big part in making it funny.
Mm-hmm. They definitely did.
Yeah. Let's talk about the what do you feel about the other superheroes?
Right, I'm glad you brought them up.
Yeah.
They were kind of weird. But I did like the they were funny though. We're in a funny way.
Yeah.
There was definitely comic relief there. That big dude, the crusher who can only crush things. And then when he especially that scene where Mr. Incredible's trying to get through that hallway and he had crushed the hallway and then he got him unhypnotized and he was like, can you reverse it? And he was like, well, want me to uncrush?
Yeah, yeah.
The girl Void, she had a pretty cool power. I liked her.
Yeah, she did. For a moment there, I felt like when they were all in a trance with the glasses on, and the kids were running from them. It almost had a feel of X-Men, where you have this one group of with powers, and they're all the same, but then they're kind of against each other.
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool. I like to see them utilize whatever powers that they did have.
Right. It's a good thing too. That I was glad to see more supers in the second one.
Yeah.
Because the first one we only got a handful of them.
Yeah. I enjoyed to see the others and what their powers were as strange as they were.
That old man, the what they call
Rigger.
Yeah. I was like, wow, he spin up that molten lava and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, that was interesting to say the least. But I feel like what do you feel about Frozone?
His part, he had a bigger part in this movie than he did in the last one. A slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Not too much, but
I wish his wife's voice would have made more of an appearance.
yeah. I wanted her to as well. We only got that one part. Part. You better be back ASAP. Where you going ASAP? And leave that suit.
I was really looking forward to more of the
He was rolling his eyes.
Yeah, more of an interaction between
that would have been good.
the two of them. But
when Frozen was talking to Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl while they're at the hotel, and he was like, "You guys can always stay with me and Honey." I was kind of hoping they might go over there and we might get something.
Yeah. I was hoping that too, for sure. I did, you have these movies and, the villain, they're always angry about something and they want, revenge for whatever reason. But I thought it was really interesting how they made this about social media. I thought that was very relevant today.
Right.
And, her thought process was there's too much. No one takes the time to sit and talk anymore. No one takes the time to, for instance, play a board game instead of a
Right.
video game. And,
Yeah, when he was saying
you know what I mean?
you know, you watch talk shows, but you don't talk. You know,
Exactly.
you watch game shows, but you don't.
And you know, it was crazy, but it was just like, I know she was a villain, but it's like you can't be mad at that because it's true, but it's a different age.
That's going
today.
The whole villain with a point is very popular nowadays.
Yeah.
They've been doing that a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
They did it with Black Panther, Killmonger. They had it with him. I'm not gonna, I can't spoil. You might not have seen the show yet. I'm not even gonna mention it. But I will say that the villain in Luke Cage season 2, I kind of saw something with him as well.
okay.
If you have a chance to check that out.
Yeah.
So that whole villain with a point kind of thing, where you see the villain and you know what they're doing is wrong, but you're kind of like, all right, well, I see where they're coming from.
Right.
They're really going hard with that.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope they don't wear it out too much though.
Yeah.
I hope. I mean, but a layered villain is good, but I don't want this to be a trend. Does that make what I'm trying to say? Like a whole oh, this is a villain, but I feel sorry for him. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I think the way that they did, I think writers have to be kind of up with what's current.
right? Of
And
course, yeah.
I feel like, once it's not such an issue, it won't be anymore. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I didn't feel sorry for
Right, yeah,
you
same
know,
here. Yeah, but
this
I saw
villain.
her point though. She
I
wasn't
saw
just
her
doing
point, you know what I mean?
it wasn't world domination or
It wasn't. And I liked how they explained, how she got to that point,
Right.
with her parents dying and, and then how the
Yeah.
brother, how just the two of them didn't see things, and it was just because a matter of perception,
Right.
you.
And it's on that, not to cut you off, when you meant about the the parents dying, when she was telling that story and her father went to the telephones to call the heroes instead of going to the safe room. I was like, I was thinking, why not have the telephones in the safe room? Wouldn't that have been a better idea? That way, it's like you don't got to be like, oh, like The Price is Right. Oh, this one or that one or
Well, then they wouldn't have a movie.
You're right. That's just how I think sometimes. I was like, well, they could have done.
But that's true, though. But what did you think about Invisigirl?
Oh, the whole. I thought her storyline, it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
I felt kind of bad that her, could have been boyfriend got Men in Black with that with that flash. I was like, yeah, that sucks. So her, her plight was kind of like, oh, okay, well, she deserves to be angry.
Yeah, she does.
She does. I wanted to see more of her power usage though.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to see more of the force fields and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But they're with the way the movie was going, the way that they're still teenagers and they're with the dad. They're not doing what they're not there with the mom, so they wouldn't be using their powers that much anyway. But
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping that they would be in a situation where they would use them more often in the movie. Because the same in the last movie, they used them really more towards the end.
Yeah, that's
Just
true.
like this movie too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I did enjoy, I feel like, the animation is coming along as far as, when I look at a movie like Incredibles 3, I'm sorry, 2, I look at the shape of things and, the skyline.
Right.
And if it looks, and I feel like they did a really nice job. Like there was one scene where it was like maybe dusk and you can see the clouds in the skies, which looked so real, to me. And I liked how when Alaska Girl was on top of the train, the Speedway train, and her bike kind of, skid. And the detail that I like was they showed the tracks of the bike on top of the train, and it looked real.
Yeah, you're right.
And so I paid attention to those kind of details too. to see how far they've come along with animation and the tech part of it.
And they really did. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
I missed some of that. I got it.
No, it looked. I
But it did
always
look
look for that, because I remember the first time in animation of this sort that they got the hair to move. And so that was a big deal to have fluidity with the hair movement. So, and that was years ago. So I always look to see the growth in these kinds of movies, and they did a really nice job. If you pay attention, you'll see.
I'm definitely gonna watch it again. So I'm gonna be eyes glued.
Yeah,
definitely looking for things.
It was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. By the time it was over, I sighed because I actually think I was holding my breath at one point when they were the ship was going and finally got to the end, and actually the woman that was sitting next to me, I heard her go
because I was thinking, I was like, don't do no property damage.
Yes, that's what it was. It was kind of like, you wanted it to everything to be okay and not one person or one building or anything get destroyed.
Right.
And it didn't. So
one thing that really had me laughing was when in the very beginning, after they took out that giant drill and the police came, Frozen was like, "Oh, I'm out." All that damage and everything.
Yeah,
he saw them cops. He's a brother, so he was like, "Oh, all right." He knew what to do. He was like, all right.
He was like, "Don't get mad at me because I know when to leave."
Right.
Leave the scene.
Like, brother man had to get out of there real quick.
Which was good, but I wish I would have. He had a bigger part than he did in the first
Much
one,
better,
for sure. Which was good.
He was killing it too when he came in to see the kids and everything, and
yes, he was.
The other group came, he was holding them off.
Yes, he was. Yep, he was.
He was putting in work.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think that there'll be a 3?
Whew. Really, I don't. I would like there to be, but as far as do I think there will be, I think they're planning on stopping here. I think the reason why it took so long for us to even get a second one, I don't think they even intended to make a second movie. I think that might be the reason why it took so long. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they thought that first one would be enough. Like, all right, we're just gonna do this movie here. It's gonna be great, and we'll just end it there. But then the fans, they loved it, and I think they just heard the fans and was like, all right, well, we'll do a second one. It took 14 years, but that's why I think about it.
Well, I always, think about the bottom line, which is the almighty dollar, and the first one was successful, but you have to think about and. There's always money to be made. There's always someone in Hollywood that wants to make money. So I could only think of maybe creative differences, maybe, whoever, wasn't satisfied and had some sort of integrity and wasn't just going to put out anything.
Right.
Because they'll put out a second as long as the first one made money and they think they can make money,
right.
on a sequel. So that's why I feel like maybe it had something to do with that, more than anything. But I'll tell you one thing. When we went to the movie to get the tickets, and you go on and you choose your seat, for every showing, it was packed. They had just like maybe a few seats left in the front row. So I feel like there'll probably be a 3 because this movie's going to make so much money.
I hope it will be. They can't wait 14 years though. Those voice actors look old.
No, they can't. I mean, Mr. Incredible, Craig T. Nelson plays, the voice.
Yeah, and he was old.
He already has like that kind of light old man voice, you know what I mean? But you know what I thought? It kind of works because Mr. Incredible is such a force. He's so huge.
Yeah.
that you don't even really pay attention to his voice being so light
Right.
because he's so big.
Yeah,
You
smashing
know what I mean?
smashing.
Yeah. There's nothing frail about him.
You're
So
right.
for him to have that voice, I didn't bother me.
Yeah, same here. You don't notice anything, as far
You
as
don't
that.
notice anything. And he had some stronger notes when he needed to.
Oh yeah. when he
But,
when he had that breakdown, the 5 o'clock shadow, and he was like, Matt, it's changed, and she's out there, and I'm here.
But before the movie started, you know how they did the little behind the scenes. Did they do that?
Yes,
at the
they
theater
did,
you went?
yep.
So, but you saw him, Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah.
You saw he, his voice box was was frail. It was lighter than it
was.
usually is. So, you're right. They better not wait
14, 15 years.
too long.
We're running a little short on time, but before we get into it, now I don't know. I was watching when Elastigirl was doing her thing. For being a mom, she looked like she was in amazing shape. I'm not trying to sound like that guy, but she looked like she has some shape to her.
Let me tell you something. As a woman, I was so happy to see that she had a shape. Like she had a figure.
That
you know?
hourglass shape.
She had thighs, hips, a bottom, but I looked at all the other women in, the movie as well. And they were all women of varied sizes and shapes.
Right.
They weren't like stick figures,
Mm-hmm.
Void Girl was,
She was kind of thin.
she was thin, but she was young girl,
Right.
she was thin. But when it got to Elastigirl and even the Ambassador,
Right.
and then there were when they went to the TV show, you saw the people behind the scenes. They had shapes of varied sizes. The women, I mean,
I guess that goes back to your point about the animation growing over
yes.
the
And I think that they are hearing the voice of women as well. Because for so many years, they've put that one image, on the screen.
Right.
And, they're finally hearing us. We come in all shapes and sizes.
Oh yes.
So I definitely love that. And I'm glad you brought that up because I did take note.
It was hard not to notice that.
I know.
Well, so I want to thank you very much for Topic Thunder. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm looking forward to actually having you on future shows. I know you're a huge Game of Thrones fan.
Oh, yes.
So I want to let you know we will be doing a pre-episode and post-episode for season 8 when it comes out.
Wow.
So please join us on both of those
Awesome. Awesome. You ain't said nothing but a word.
Ladies and gentlemen, Topic Thunder here with me, Genbu, your host, and thanks again for joining us and tuning in to our show. Once again, find us on Castbox and iTunes, soon to be on SoundCloud, and also catch our website, www.geekbluespodcast.com, and please subscribe, comment, hit us up. We will respond to you. All right, and without further ado, any last comments or anything, Topic Thunder?
I'm glad that you invited me, and I'm glad that you have this venue to talk about Marvel and shows such as this, because I feel like this is a genre that's up and coming, and there needs to be a place to talk about it. So thank you.
Oh, thank you for thanking me. I appreciate the love. All right, well, until the next show, everybody, have a good night. Peace out.